It's time for an update on XCloud and a few other items as well. Back in December of 2020, Microsoft said, hey, we are going to bring xCloud, or as Microsoft would like me to call it, cloud gaming over to the iOS and the PC. And we haven't really heard too much, and we're mid-February, and so here's a little quick minor update about what is going on, and it's good news if you're waiting for it on the PC. At least that is what I'm hearing from people who are familiar with the company's plans, or however you want to phrase that. So here's the deal. Microsoft is obviously working on xCloud for the PC, and now they said it was coming in the spring, and it's mid-February. It's technically not spring, but it looks like all indicators are saying that is on track to be happening here probably sooner rather than later, although I don't know exactly their release plans. So here is what I've known, is that Microsoft has opened up the internal testing of xCloud on the PC to a very wide demographic. This is probably as wide as it can get before they go to a public preview where you and I can then start playing with xCloud on the PC. Now, there's a couple minor interesting details here. One, it only works, I believe, as of right now with Edge or Chrome, so meaning it means the Chromium-based engine, which means Firefox. Probably out of luck, and I would imagine Safari would probably fall into that, but we'll have to wait and see until it becomes publicly available on that. Also, if you remember, back in the fall, I believe actually a lot of video leaked, and I had some experience with it as well. There was an app that allowed you to utilize xCloud on your PC. It doesn't look like it's going to be coming through an app, at least as of what I'm hearing right now, is that it's available in the browser. Obviously, the Chromium-based part, that means it's in the browser. So I'm not quite sure what the future of that standalone app is. I'm not sure if Microsoft has just kind of moved away and said, look, we're just going to support the browser. It's just a better move. I tend to agree, and that just might be the path forward. But for now, it looks like that app may not be the definitive way that you're going to be playing xCloud on your PC, which I'm perfectly okay with, because then that just means that, hey, you just log into a browser and it's easier and less kind of overhead or steps to take to get it up and running. And for people who have played it, it's kind of buggy right now, not all that unexpected and nothing to be worried about. Obviously, it's early days, but the latency feels about as good as it is on Android, and obviously you get that full PC experience. So if you have your nice computer speakers hooked up, you've got your controller plugged in, and this is one that I am absolutely waiting for. Now, if you're waiting for it on iOS, Microsoft, remember, has already had an app on iOS that would allow you to run xCloud. Actually, I was part of the preview of many people here were probably as well, but I'm not quite sure how far along the path they are for bringing that to market. At least it doesn't appear to be as in wide scale testing as, say, the PC, which kind of makes sense because it's a lot easier for Microsoft to do this on the PC. And candidly, I still don't know why they went that route first to go with Android and not the PC. Anyways, iOS appears to be a little bit further behind, mostly because they've got to do the Amazon Luna route where you have to go download or install an app to your home screen because Apple, being Apple, won't let their traditional app that they had already built and tested and vetted through the store without, nitpicking over every single title that is coming. Whatever, we're not going to get into the politics of that. So the good news here is that if you're waiting for it on PC, it should be arriving sooner rather than later. Again, Microsoft could artificially delay it, or there could be some unforeseen issues. I can't imagine that's the case considering they're already shipping it today on Android. So some other things just to keep in mind, that when Microsoft does make this available on the PC, and we'll just say iOS too, this is going to open up the door to Game Pass streaming or cloud streaming to literally billions of more people who do not have access to it today. Yes, it's available on Android, and there's a billion plus people playing or accessible who could access it today on an Android device, but the PC, being able to play it in your browser, is going to open up that door, I think, even more. And it would not surprise me in the slightest if we eventually hear that, hey, the most popular way to consume cloud gaming might actually be in your browser. That would not surprise me at all, just because on a lower end laptop, like say the Surface Laptop Go or the Surface Pro or something like that, that's not designed for gaming, that is going to make a really compelling argument for Microsoft to try to get those people to sign up for that subscription service, if I could enunciate here. So just keep that in mind. It's coming along. So I'll be curious to see how much longer this kind of takes to get out the door. Other things. So I went to Best Buy this weekend. I was picking up quite literally a monitor cable because I'd used my HDMI cable because we hooked up the virtual headset for my daughter and we went exploring space. And I needed a DisplayPort cable, and I just kind of perused over to the Xbox section as one does, because I'm still on the market for looking for headsets, although I refuse to buy anything that's not USB Type-C based. And so anyways, I was looking through the options, and then I found this image right here, that you see on the screen, which are the Xbox Live cards, the 3-month. And you might be looking at this like, Brad, what is the big deal here? Well, if you look at it closely, if you look at the one on the left, it is for $29.99. And if you look at the one on the right, it is for $24.99. Now, what is the difference here? I would imagine that there have been quite a few parents or just anybody looking at this going, why is 3 months of Xbox Live Gold $24.99 or $29.99? Like, why would you pay the more money, the $5 more per month? Well, for those of you who have been hanging around here for a while, you know the real story here. These cards that are $29.99 are from that botched maneuver by Microsoft to raise the price of Xbox Live Gold. And clearly Best Buy didn't get the memo that they're supposed to pull these back off the shelf because, hey, it's not $29.99 anymore. That would make it out to $120 a year instead of the $24.99 that you see right there. There's a couple other small minor differences. The one on the left says Xbox consoles. The one on the right says Xbox One. So the $24.99 kind of has that legacy marketing, if you will. It's just last generation marketing. And so those are the big difference. I strongly suspect that if you take that $29.99 iteration card to the kiosk and pay for it, I would hope that it would come up as $24.99. I maybe could have done that, but I didn't really feel like donating $30 to the cause, if you will. And so just be on the lookout if you see those cards and people are confused why. That's why. And the only reason I bring this up is some people thought this was like some goodwill marketing, like stealth ops campaign. This absolutely was not. They would not have printed these cards and shipped them to retailers and then had them put them out if they were actually knew they were going to pull things back. Something else that came up that I find somewhat interesting is Jason Rowland recently did an interview or a conversation on the Xbox podcast, and he said that there have been 6 million smart delivery upgrades since launch. Now, the last time we got a number related to smart delivery upgrades was in early December. So that means it went from 1.6 million upgrades, which is something we got in December, to 6 million. Now, you can't directly tie these to one-to-one, meaning that that's console sold. Like you can't say 6 million consoles have been sold because one person could have 3 smart upgrade experiences, 10. But it does go to show just how widely utilized this feature of the next generation platform is being consumed by the end user. Now, most of the time, they probably don't even know it. This is just a back-end technology that makes it quicker and faster to download your game. Actually, if I think about it right now, I think I've probably had it experienced maybe 4 times potentially on my own console. So you can really see that 6 million is an overzealous figure for when it comes to how many Xbox Series X and S gamers are out there, at least right now. But interesting figure to go from 1.6 to 6 million. So just throwing that out there. So wrapping this up here, just keep in mind that xCloud on the PC is taking a big step forward by Microsoft pushing it to as many users as they can internally who want to test it out. That is the last internal beta ring before it would then go into a public preview state. So we should be on the lookout for that. iOS looks like it's a little bit further behind. And that's a good little update here. So keep it locked, keep it subscribed, because the only BS on this channel is me.